Well, Alexandra, what are some of the top trends in technology that firms need to be paying attention to nowadays?
Okay, so there's a lot of things, that runs the gamut. Everything is coming out there, and it's difficult for CPAs to figure out what makes sense, what doesn't, what should I be paying attention to, what should I be spending my money on, which is probably the most important. So I'd say I'm going to focus in on things that are related to paperless technologies and also cloud computing. One of the biggest home runs, I would say, for CPA firms in particular that we'd be looking at right now are client portals. They can be used for a lot of things, but primarily for tax preparation. With a lot of security rules that are coming out now in states where you're not allowed to send personally identifiable information about your clients via email unless you're encrypting them, and that includes social security numbers, and so you run into the problem of not being able to send a tax return to a client via email. And if they call you up and they want a copy of this for whatever reason, they are not going to be able to get it. And so what firms are starting to do is they're investing in client portals, which is essentially you direct your clients to a website where they put in a secure password and their tax return lives there. That's not only good for security, but it's also good for down the road. If they need it for something else, if they're applying for a mortgage, whatever the case might be, they don't have to call you and you don't have to find it. It's there, they can get it themselves. And taking that beyond tax preparation for any CPA, a lot of them are using it as a stickiness factor by expanding that to say to their clients, if you want to keep copies of your wills, of your bank statements, of anything that's really important to you, here, in case you run into a disaster in your home, there's just a backup way to put it. We're going to offer you that service as well.
How about going forward? What's coming up on the horizon that CPAs should be paying attention to technology-wise?
Okay, cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing. That's what it's all about. Now, client portals are cloud computing. It's just a term. People are asking me, what is cloud computing? What does that mean? It's not a new concept. To me, the easiest, simplest way to explain what cloud computing is it's doing stuff on the web. The portals is a great example, but it's pretty much anything. Think of online banking. That is cloud computing. You're typing in a URL, and you're doing your information on the web instead of having to have the servers and doing it in your office. It's the wave of the future because I talked to dozens of CPAs and consultants out there, and what the technology consultants are telling me is if I'm a new firm starting out today, I would have everything be in the cloud, aka online. Why? Because it's cheaper to get started, you have access to it wherever you are, and it just makes more sense. So you don't have to spend money on the servers and the IT help. You're still going to need an IT person for some things, but not for maintaining the servers. There's so many things out there right now. You can get tax preparation software in the cloud. You can get tax research in the cloud, CRM, sales and marketing in the cloud. Everything is moving in that direction, and where firms that currently exist or are looking at it, they're usually making that decision when their servers are dying, their hardware is dying, and they have to make that decision. Am I going to keep paying this money to maintain it myself, or am I going to pay to let someone else maintain it for me? So that's where I think it's going, and if people are going to move in that direction, the biggest thing to ask are two questions. If I don't want to do business with you anymore, what happens to my data? How can I get it back? Think of it like you would with photo sharing. I put all my photos online at a service, but I also keep a backup on my own because I'm still worried if they go out of business, or if I don't want to do business with them, what happens? So those two questions. What happens if they go out of business? What happens if I don't want to do business with you? How do I get my data back? Because that's the biggest question to ask.
Well, thank you very much, Alexandra, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for your time.